What's happening, guys? Weight has been something I have struggled with ever since I was a kid. And to be honest, I still always look and gonna want to be leaner and leaner. And I think when we invest our time in training, we always want to be leaner. So I've put out a 12-week program for weight loss, but I want to give you my top 3 tips for using resistance training to lose weight here, which are contained in that program. But the more people we can get this information out to, the better, because I want you to be happy, I want you to be healthy, and I want you to achieve your goals. So, number 1 is going to be tracking all of your workouts and making sure you're doing more than you did last week. You have to do this in a systematic way, but if you're not tracking, you're gonna have a really hard time making progress with any variable. And with weight loss, one of the most potent things that you can do is you can start the cascade of effects when you start to get fitter. So if you're doing more and more, your body's gonna have signals that are incredibly powerful to start the process of you losing weight and becoming leaner. This is why you see bodybuilders in the off season, they're eating burgers and fries and shakes, and they look like their face is fat. They still have abs. They still have veins on their arms because they've been so lean, they have so much muscle mass that really sticks around. And it's hard for the body to reverse that process. Now, it applies the opposite way as well. If you're in a spot where you're not as lean as you'd like to be, you're not as fit as you'd like to be, it's gonna be hard to reverse that process. You gotta have a really good solid period of initial commitment, which is tip number 2. You have to stay committed for at least a 12-week period in a sustainable way. This is not a 12-week challenge, and you should not participate in any 12-week challenges. You should take a reasonable, sustainable approach, because you can start both a positive cascade or a negative cascade depending on how you go about your weight loss. You could start a process where your body starts to preserve itself as though you're starving, and this is where you run into these massive fluctuations. I went from 320 pounds to 195 pounds over the course of 18 months when I was 20 years old, competed in a bodybuilding show. I put on 35 pounds within the first 2 weeks after I finished that show. And this is what happens when you do things unsustainably and when you start your body into that quote unquote starvation process. Now, tip number 3, and the most important thing that we cannot ignore and we cannot forget, is that energetics never lie. You will lose weight if you eat less than you expend. You will gain weight if you eat more than you expend. It just comes down to calories. Now, calories are simple as when you move, your body heats up. That's one of the ways in which we use the excess energy involved in the process of making energy, because there is process in creating energy. Sounds counterintuitive, but it is right. That's one of the ways that we get that out of our body. And that whole process means that we are burning energy for movement. And this is a calorie, which is the same calorie that we consume when we eat foods. You look on the back of the packet, calorie, simple as that. We get into more nuanced conversation around fat, protein, carbs. But in the end, if you eat pure fat all day and you have less total calories in fat than you're expending, your body composition might not be great, but you will lose weight. Now, all of those details and a lot more in the 12-week program, including how you're actually going to be able to get leaner, how you're going to be able to sustain that for the long run. There's a whole training program to go alongside, because one of the things I didn't talk about is the benefit of aerobic fitness, and the more aerobically fit you are, the leaner that you're going to be. Now, all of that information down in the link in the description, but I hope that helps you guys get started, whether you get that or not. In the end, get in the gym, get consistent. And one thing to really stress is that there are completely independent health factors that are improved if you focus on your health and wellness through movement, completely irrespective of weight loss. I'll wrap it up with this. An overweight person who exercises regularly is healthy in nearly every measurable marker compared to someone who is healthy weight but doesn't exercise. So remember that. Make sure you get out there, get moving regularly, and you will be healthier for it. That dog is telling us to lift heavy and be kind, and we'll catch you next time.